Chahir Zaki. I'm an associate professor at the Faculty of Economics and Political Science at Cairo University and a senior economist at the Economic Research Forum. I started to work with ERF. The first time it was in 2002 when I was in the second year at the university as an usher in one of the annual conferences of ERF. And then after this, I started to. I finished my master's and my PhD in France. And during my PhD, I participated in several conferences that were for a PhD student. They were extremely useful because I presented my PhD papers, and I was lucky because I got several. Constructive referees who helped me improve my papers. And then after I finished my PhD, I joined ERF as an economist in 2013. In terms of the projects on which I'm working with ERF, I mainly work on trade policy issues, but recently I also started to work on other themes. So the first group of projects on which I'm working are mainly the effect of non-tariff measures on exports and the effect of undervaluation on exports as well. Two other projects on which I'm working with Dr. Ibrahim al-Badawi, which are the effect of natural resources on conflicts, and we're especially focusing on conflicts in Libya. And finally, another project is we're trying to examine to what extent there is a connection between domestic value chains and global value chains, because one of the problems that are facing exporters in the MENA region is that they're not able to be part of global value chains, and this can chiefly be explained by the lack of domestic value chains. How I can see ERF in the next 10 years, I think three main things I have in mind that ERF started and definitely should continue in this direction. So first, in terms of data dissemination, that was extremely useful for researchers, because in our region having access to data was very difficult before the initiative that was done by ERF. Second, empowering young researchers through the training workshops or conferences, that's also very important because, as I mentioned, I improved my PhD thanks to ERF events. And third is this perhaps increasing the how can I say it? Increasing the outreach and the dissemination of research in order to make it more influential, especially for policymakers, because I think ERF publishes around 5 working papers per week. So there is, in terms of accumulation of knowledge, it's huge, but at the same time, in order to make it more influential, I think making this research more accessible by policymakers will definitely have an influence on the policy, the decision-making and the decision-taking process in the MENA region.